The key to using energetic healing for mental health, for turning weaknesses into strengths, is to go to the deepest recesses of your soul with the process. Now, despite this sounding intimidating, it's entirely doable. In this video, I'll explain how so in these 4 clear steps. Energetic healing for mental health, otherwise known as releasing trapped emotions or transmuting, is a process of transforming conflicted emotions into peace by transforming conflicted emotions' underlying energy from their conflicted state to their original state, which is pristine purity. From this energetic state, peace and personal power can arise. Energetic healing for mental health can be applied so thoroughly and completely that it can transmute lifelong issues out of one's system entirely. Resolving these issues, which are often founded by limiting and false belief systems like I will never be successful or I will never be loved, is obviously life transforming. I've already created several videos about how to do this in detail. When applying energetic healing for mental health, specifically for turning long-term weaknesses into strengths, it means transmuting every arising of your so-called weakness in your life, whether it's an addiction, issues with intimate relationships, fear of what others might think, fear of communicating your needs, perpetual guilt, or whatever it might be for you, into an opportunity. Now, don't be limited by any limiting beliefs you may have about what I just said. It's these kinds of perceptual and attitudinal shifts, like turning problems into opportunities, so to speak, done bit by bit over time, that create massive seismic shifts towards freedom and inner power. The key is to break these perceptual and attitudinal shifts down into genuinely doable and realizable steps, so that over time, shifts really do take place at the energetic level within your body-mind system, instead of just being a nice idea that can't translate to reality because you don't know how to embody such shifts energetically. These 4 steps break this process down. Fundamentally, when applying energetic healing for mental health for turning weaknesses into strengths, it means that every time the issue comes up in your life and you're feeling frustrated and disempowered, you transmute your fears and other feelings relating to the issue into the courage to feel and face it every time it comes up, and as much as you can take every time. Eventually, this weakness can only turn into a strength if you go deep enough with it. This is a natural, visceral, and almost logical process. So again, to get to this level, this is what you need to do. In terms of stage 1, transmuting emotions, as mentioned, I've created several videos about how to do this so that your so-called negative emotions, whether they be fear, anxiety, depression, anger, guilt, or shame, are transmuted or transformed into their original and pristine energetic state, from where peace and personal power can arise. In terms of stage 2, when you ask to be given as much of the issue as you can take or to release as many layers of it as you can at this time, what you're doing here is signaling to your true, subtle, or higher self that you really intend on seeing through to the very core of this issue. You no longer want to be enslaved to the belief systems it engenders or the behaviors it creates. You're genuinely prepared to undo these belief systems layer by layer if necessary, to see them for what they are, empty of reality. Given that this is not an easy process, it really helps to signal your intention of addressing the issue to its core, to your true or subtle self. Believe me, your subtle self responds to any indications from you that you're ready for truth. In my experience, when I've done this, I have received as much of the issue as I could take at the time, and my higher intelligence knew how much that was. In time, I freed myself from long-term issues with addiction, anxiety about finances, issues with intimate relationships, lifelong anger, deep, mostly buried and crippling guilt, and more. So, stage 3 is when you ask divine intelligence what it wants you to see or do in relation to the issue at this time. Again, you're signaling to your true, subtle, or higher self that you genuinely want to see through to the core of this issue. So, not only are you willing to take as much of it as you can at this time, but you're also willing to see or do specific things that you may have unconsciously buried or resisted before. I talk about intention in my videos a lot, both because of its transformative power and how that power is underestimated. People can think that intention is just a gentle nod in the right direction. It isn't. It's a total alignment of your being with all the forces of power and help in existence. It's extremely powerful. And it's so much more powerful to release trapped emotions in an intentional way than just a reacting to life way. Your transformation process will be so much more powerful when you do this, so you will likewise be empowered. Instead of being overwhelmed by issues, in time they will be well within your capabilities to manage and then release forever. And this is what turns weaknesses into strengths. You're less likely to get to this level, however, without clear and strong intention. Stage 4 of the process is when you take the time for gratitude. Again, this step may seem less important, but like intention, it's a very powerful and underrated force. When you take the time to be grateful to yourself for having the courage to face your challenges, as well as grateful to existence for giving you the guidance and tools of empowerment to face them, your whole way of relating to your challenges and your ability to cope with them shifts even more. Enlightened people are grateful for the air in their lungs, the senses they sense, their beating heartbeat, and every meal they eat. Gratitude is a shift into the state of enlightenment and hence empowerment, so that again, in much less time than otherwise, instead of being overwhelmed by issues, they will be well within your capabilities to manage and then release forever. And this is also how you turn weaknesses into strengths. By engaging in these 4 steps over and over again, watch how much you change within a period of time, say 6 months or a year, on a particularly thorny issue in your life versus what your progress may have been like before. So, a final word on what I specifically mean by turning weaknesses into strengths. I mean that you've become so deeply aware and insightful on the subject that you could teach others about it. You've explored your own depths to such an extent that you now have deep intuition, visceral clarity, and natural confidence about how to transmute this issue out of your life that naturally enables you to help others with a similar issue, should you choose to do that. But please don't take my word for any of these teachings. Please experiment with them for yourself. Discover and re-illuminate the power that lies within your very own core.